And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. Right.
That's right, folks. Time for KP's Video News. Gotta have yourselves a tasty dose and a tasty beverage in the morning. Good old hot chocolate. Telling you, it's a little cool this morning, man. It's KP's early morning news show. That's right, it's the early morning news show, the early edition. Gotta wake up in the morning, wake up in the morning. Whew. Got my Sweet Home Chicago cap on. And yeah, it's it's my early morning news show here. Man, do a little something different, man. Wait a minute. I have a tasty beverage. Yeah. But yeah, folks, there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on in the news. And I actually absolutely refuse to get involved in some of this madness because it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. I refuse to even go there. I refuse to go there. Oh, wait a minute. I got rabbit ears here. Let's see if I got rabbit ears. Okay, anyway, I refuse to even get involved in some of this madness out here. Like the farce they call themselves, putting on TV, talking about a trial, Rittenhouse or whatever, Rittenhouse, whatever his name is, Maxwell House. The judge, I'm going to say one thing about that case. The judge, that was the most despicable character assassination of a judge that could ever happen, man. That guy needs to be banned, disbarred, disbanded, whatever you call it. He needs to be removed, chucked to the side, no pension. Just get out the way. You take Giuliani with you. That was a farce. It was a farce. And we all knew it. We all knew what was coming down the pipe. We all knew it before it even happened. Why even show the trial on TV if you want to call it a trial? It wasn't even a trial. It was a joke. And the judge was the biggest joke of all. Anyway, I'm done with that. Now, moving on to this is a case that happened a little while back, and it had to do with a 19-year-old that was harassed by the cops while delivering newspapers. So, it says, the off-duty Michigan police officer was fired after pulling a gun on a teenager who brushed off his initial questions while delivering newspapers. And Chad Vorse was fired in May from the DeWitt Police Department after pulling his gun on a 19-year-old man who believed was a suspect in a string of break-ins. Vorse is now appealing his termination. The incident occurred just shortly after 7 a.m. on January 14th when the now former police officer, who was off duty at the time, was taking his teenage son to school and saw a gray van in his neighborhood. Vorse said he found the presence of the vehicle to be suspicious because of the recent break-ins in his area and thought the young man fit the description. Black man in a van. And it was because of the same description. Black hoodie, freaking black guy, Vorse offered as a rationale. Vorse approached the van in his red pickup truck and asked the teen if he needed directions. When Hamilton responded, no, I don't. Vorse, with his own teenage son still in the pickup truck, began following the van. Black male hanging out in the area who needs to be checked, he told the police dispatchers in a recording of the call. The pie is covered up with dirt, so you can't. The plates are covered up with dirt, so I can't get it. Voice later told the police he thought Hamilton was trying to ram his car when the teen put his van in reverse. Hamilton told the state police during an interview that his intention was to back up to speak with Voice. I tried to back up and reverse around him so I could talk to him, but he just kept backing up. So I eventually turned off and left the whole neighborhood. Hamilton reversed his van once again. This time, Voice responded by jumping out and pointing his gun at Hamilton. Now, the former cop told the dispatchers, "He's trying to ram me," he added. "I'm going to go shots fired if he does it again." Wanted to be somewhere public with witnesses after the threat of deadly force, the young man, who was at that point still didn't know the man following him was an officer, went to a nearby gas station where Voice then blocked his car. Voice exited his vehicle with his gun pointed at Hamilton and identified himself as a police officer. Ultimately, a city DeWitt police officer from Michigan State Police trooper arrived on the scene and detained Hamilton. Off-duty officer Voice pulled his gun on the teen, who was delivering newspapers, and said, "When a black guy, I think you're doing stuff like this. This use of force and bias is disgusting." Thankfully, the teen was not hurt and Voice was fired. Hamilton's mother, Rachel, was devastated after viewing the video, expressing frustrating that Voice could put her son in danger because he didn't like the teen's look and the response to his question. Because he didn't answer you, he didn't give you the answer that you were looking for. That does not give you the right to take away my child or even threaten to. The DeWitt Police Department later released a statement revealing Voice was placed on administrative leave almost immediately for violating city and police department policies. And at the conclusion of the investigation by Michigan State Police on March 24th, the incident did not result in Clinton County prosecutor pursuing criminal charges, the city government stated. The city of DeWitt that conducted an internal investigation of the incident involving police officers. We have the utmost confidence that the city of DeWitt has taken appropriate action in this matter. Though charges were not placed, an internal investigation later discovered that the violations, including excessive force, were enough to get him fired. And so, Voice filed an appeal, but so far he hasn't got his job back. Thanks for that. And that's one we don't need. That's one we do not need. It's time for old boy to just, hey, you had your chance. So here we go with the next story. They had now this story here is really disgusting to me. They had another judge story. They had a New York judge. Wait a minute, got a tasty beverage. Tasty dose of KP Video News. Stated that it was inappropriate. Let me say that again. A New York judge stated that it was inappropriate to imprison a 20-year-old white man who had committed sexual abuse, including rape of teens. Come on, man. These judges are out of control, man. Christopher Biter, 20 years old, admitted to sexual abuse, including rape of a teenager in 2019. A judge gave him 8 years probation Tuesday, saying that prison isn't the appropriate place for him to be. So basically, he's privileged. He comes from money. He's white, the attorney of an accuser stated, and a New York judge said it was inappropriate to imprison a 20-year-old man who had pleaded guilty to raping at least one teenage girl. And it's like, this is ridiculous, man. He pleaded guilty to rape. 2019, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree sex abuse, third-degree attempted abuse, third-degree rape, and received a sentence of 2 years interim probation. So now that was another case. Now he just ended up getting an additional 8 years of probation. Come on, man. He's already been found guilty of 1 charge of rape. He gets out, and he does it again. And you give him the same sentence. Probation. Only you give him, I'm just going to add more years to his probation. Hell, he already violated his first probation. He already violated it. This is a joke, man. This is a real joke. And I can't imagine what the girl or girls, more than one, I can't imagine the trauma that they went through. And I can't imagine what her parents, their parents are going through after finding out that a judge would think that it was inappropriate to send a serial rapist, give a serial rapist man probation. Probation. Wow. Sad, man. It's really sad. We need a judge overhaul. We need a whole complete justice system overhaul. And we definitely need to get rid of some of these old judges. They need to place restrictions on these judges to say, well, okay, if you're a judge and you've been there for 20 years, it's time for you to go. It's time to go, man. It's time to go. Get some new young judges in there, man, that understand what life is all about. Because some of these old guys, man, they like 70, 80 years old, and they falling asleep on the bench. It's time, man, for some age limits on these judges. You got some judges on there that are in holdovers from the old Jim Crow era, man, that are still there. Anyway, this is the thing of shape of the things to come. Kind of switching reels a little bit. They got supermarket shelves, and this is not in the United States, but it's quite a few places. I've talked to people across country, and they've told me some similar stories. We said grocery stores in British Columbia reported food shortage after torrential rains hit the area, and this footage from November 16th shows empty store shelves. And according to the supermarket chain, that weather challenges were responsible for the limited stock. And according to some reports, however, panic buying is also a factor. Please buy only what your family needs at the time, another supermarket company said. And hundreds were displaced, and multiple roads were temporarily closed due to heavy flooding and mudslides brought on by the atmospheric river. And this whole thing about the weather changes and global warming and all that stuff. But I've heard of people not being able to find a lot of things on the shelves at the supermarkets right here in the United States. And, they got that shortage. Plus you have a lot of other articles that are coming from China that are out there at the LA harbor that are just sitting on the ships, that are just sitting there waiting. And this stuff is not going to move itself. Anyway, this next article is about Ghislaine Maxwell, and she was Epstein, the pedophile Epstein that they claim killed himself while he was in jail, and these two were tied together. He was the, I guess you call it a pimp, and she was the madam, and they were doing things to these, allegedly doing all these different things to these teenage girls, and all these rich people from all over the world. Even one of the heirs to the throne in England got caught up in this mess. Seen pictures of Trump and Bill Clinton taking pictures with this guy, the guy Epstein. Pictures of the heir to the throne in England taking pictures with a 16-year-old girl. These guys are rich pedophiles, man. Anyway, Maxwell walked into the courtroom Monday after a pre-trial conference before she faces what is going to be the fight of her life. Maxwell looked like she did 10 years ago. In fact, she looked better. And so it was a moment that caught me off guard. It took me back in time and reminded me of precisely how Maxwell had once had so many friends. A vast number of acquaintances may not have all been people that she was close to because of her lifestyle. She was also traveling somewhere or other. Nevertheless, she drew people to her because she was funny, she was witty, she was extraordinarily charming, blah, blah, blah. And I was also reminded that in the courtroom, also supremely confident. Maxwell is just, as just about everyone knows, currently stands charged for helping the late sexual predator Jeffrey Epstein traffic and sexually abuse women, underage women, as well as lying in a civil suit. So opening arguments are scheduled for the 29th of November, and she has denied all charges. And given the horrific nature of the allegations, it's not surprising that on Monday, unlike 10 years ago when she was hosting dinners in New York at her townhouse, proselytizing about her efforts to preserve the oceans through philanthropy, I didn't see a single friend of hers in court. Not only one. The only support she saw in attendance was her sister, Isabel. So all those people. I knew Maxwell slightly became part of the expat British community in New York, so I ran into her from time to time over the years. So it's a lot of people that are out there. One person who went to dinners that included Maxwell and Epstein, and Prince Andrew stated, I can't remember the last time I heard anybody say, poor Ghislaine, she should be allowed to say her story. I think everybody's absolutely horrified. Everybody's embarrassed that someone in the broader circle of us could have been behaving in such a terrible way. So these people are scared. They're scared right now. They are, the question has always come up in speculation about a trial is who will she name as also being involved? More than one person has asked who should be afraid. The answer to that largely depends on whether Maxwell decides to take the stand on her own defense or ordinarily a tactic of last resort. But possibly in this case, according to a couple of legal experts, the answer is that if she takes the stand, she can say anything and name anyone as long as the judge deems it is relevant to her defense. That gets to the main criticism I've heard about the trial, which is, why is Maxwell alone facing charges for a scheme that was socioeconomic pyramid involving so many others? Even David Bowles, the attorney who represents several Epstein victims, stated earlier this year he knows that Epstein schemes involve far more people, both men and women, than just Epstein and Maxwell. I think it would be a miscarriage of justice if the other co-conspirators were not called to account, he stated, and he expected more indictments. Yet so far that has not happened. So this kind of has the air of Heidi Fleiss over in California, the madam, and they had all these different call girls that the super rich were indulging in. And I mean, she had a little black book with all these names of politicians and judges and doctors and cops and lawyers and movie stars. And she didn't do much time. They made sure she didn't do much time, because she held that little black book like it was a piece of gold, and she lorded it over them. She held it over their heads. I got the little black book. What you gonna do? You gonna lock me up for a long time? I'm gonna release the contents of this little black book. And she didn't hardly do much time. She did a couple of years and she was out. I'm telling you, man. So this has an air of that. And it says mighty suspicious the way Epstein lost his life too. Mighty suspicious. Here's this story here. This is another one of my little favorite little actresses, Letitia Wright. And she was hospitalized in August after an accident on the set of the new film. They're doing another new Black Panther film, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And so she was, she got into some minor injuries, which turned out to be more serious. And she's suffered a crucial shoulder fracture and a concussion with several side effects. And the Marvel Studios stated it's been a painful process for Letitia, and they've been recovering with her doctors and the support of family. And her accident was announced in August. So this was, she's been suffering a little bit from this and that. And, she came under scrutiny because hasn't been vaccinated for COVID-19, and it's making it difficult for her to get to Atlanta from London, where she has been recovering. And so it's like, and then you have people here, of course, in the United States that are like, she don't need to be in the film. It's like, yeah, well, I don't know if she's gonna play the role of being the new Black Panther, which would be cool with me. Because like I said, I liked her role that she played, an extremely smart, intelligent, young black woman that was way, way advanced mentally than everybody in the whole country, because she was the one that was creating all these different gadgets and all the stuff that they use. So she was super intelligent. I really enjoyed that movie, Black Panther, the original one. I really enjoyed that movie. That was like probably the first time that I had got out and went to the show in person to go see a movie, and I'm glad I did. It was very, very inspirational. Anyway, I'm gonna do this last one. I should have saved hers for last, but I'm gonna do this last one. And this is a corrections officer, deputy, booked into jail where he worked after allegedly killing his wife and infant daughter. That's crazy, man. You got to be kidding me. So this guy here, a Louisiana correction officer, was accused of murdering his wife and infant daughter on Halloween. So on October 31st, the sheriff's investigators took 26-year-old Blake Bardwell into custody after the two victims were found dead at his residence. Police have not released the victims' names or a possible motive in the killing. Bradwell is booked into the correctional center that he worked in on 2 counts of second-degree murder. He was later moved to a different facility because of his work history with the prison. And Bradwell worked at the jail since 2019. So they got him. And come on, man, you don't kill your wife and your kid. You feel, man, I can't even say what I want to say. This is on Facebook. I can't say what I want to say. I really can't. But why would you want to make them suffer? You're the one that's suffering. If you're suffering, why you want to take it out on them? That's all. Read between the lines on that one. Ooh, it's a cool morning. You got a nice warm, tasty beverage of KP's Video News, folks. You got to come in and get your tasty beverage of KP's Video News all the time, all news, folks.
And you know what time it is?
You know what time it is.
It's time for KP's Video News.
Peace, folks. Peace.